Chapter 27, Secrets. Rongxing, my heart, my flower, my life. How can you look even more stunning tonight than you did when I left you this morning? Your beauty can rival that of a goddess, and your eyes are shining like the most elusive star in the sky. Oh, my queen of the night, how can this brave warrior be good enough for you? I give you my heart, my soul, my everything. As soon as the monologue started, everyone turned towards the person who was speaking, their faces lighting up in smiles. Even Hui Yu could not help but laugh every time he heard Ding Wu act as this. Although Ding Wu was dangerous, there was an understanding between the two of them, and Hui Yu knew that Ding Wu would gain nothing from informing others about him. Ding Wu walked towards the group at a slow pace. Nonetheless, Rongxing unexpectedly decided to kick out at him, which caused the handsome youth to yelp out of surprise. Ding Wu fell right on his buttocks and scurried towards Hui Yu, whom he intended to use as a meat shield. For all that, as soon as Ding Wu's hand touched Hui Yu's shoulder, a current of electricity exploded between the two, causing both Hui Yu and Ding Wu to be shot away from each other in opposite directions. The electric current had shocked Hui Yu, and although his body was currently in a lot of pain, his eyes were alert as he stared at Ding Wu, who in turn stared at Hui Yu. Looking at each other, it felt as though time stood still as both searched the other's eyes to see if they had been found out. Hui Yu's heart sank when he saw that shock that was evident on Ding Wu's face. However, there was a fear and alertness within the beautiful eyes which usually looked at the world with apathy. Hui Yu had felt it. An energy very similar to that of Lanfeng, and Hui Yu knew where it came from. Suddenly Ding Wu let out a scream of agony, and his arm grabbed the finger on which he had ring with an embedded storage memory stone, pain evident on his face as he finally managed to take of the ring. On the hand a burn mark remained, and a scent of burned skin could be smelled all over the area. Hui Yu was quiet as he moved towards the dropped ring and picked it up, seemingly unaffected by the scorching heat that had been emitted from it moments before. "I'll hold on to this for you," Hui Yu said with his sweetest voice. "Big brother Ding Wu can come pick it up whenever it fits you." Having said that, he shamelessly placed the ring in his pocket, and Ding Wu did nothing to stop him. The storage ring was already bound with his qi, and no one was able to access it other than him. The other four people were staring at the two in shock. Hui Yu currently had his back towards the friends, and he quickly mouthed the words "we'll talk later" to Ding Wu before he grabbed his arm and hoisted him up, and a smile appeared on both Hui Yu's and Ding Wu's faces, while they allowed laughter to ring out. The four people who stood next to them were dumbfounded. Although Ding Wu always acted in an odd way, this was definitely quite out of line even for him. Neither Ding Wu nor Hui Yu felt as if they'd needed to explain what had happened, and none of the four who observed what had just occurred felt that it was their place to question it either. It was obvious that neither Hui Yu nor Ding Wu had any enmity between the two. If anything, they had gotten closer. "That man is a monster," Lanfeng said within the Danshan cave. His celestial voice sounded both astonished and shocked. Every time Lanfeng allowed his presence to be known by either communicating with Hui Yu or absorbing the qi, trying to refine it into spiritual energy, the ring which was now in Hui Yu's pocket would start to rumble and growl as if it had a ferocious animal locked within. "What is his cultivation?" Hui Yu curiously asked while chatting casually about school things with his friends. Only a third of his attention was focused on his friends, while the rest was impatiently waiting for the answer from Lanfeng. "Don't shtu pants," Lanfeng warned before he answered, his voice still filled with astonishment. "He is currently a 9-star practitioner ranked cultivator." "No way." Hui Yu was shocked. The Rong twins were both viewed as geniuses of their generation, so was Jia Yan, but everyone had viewed Ding Wu as an average talent. An oddity, but not one who stood out because of his swift advancement. Thinking about what had happened the last couple of weeks, it made some sense to Hui Yu, and he was now aware that the Ding family also knew of this high-ranked cultivation genius within their clan. "I bet they keep laughing when the Wang family boasts about Wang Julong," Hui Yu laughed to himself before he accepted that Ding Wu was definitely the #1 genius within this small city of Ryuo. He must have gotten help from him, Lanfeng mumbled to himself before he quickly returned to cultivating, causing Hui Yu to frown slightly. Who was him? However, since Lanfeng had gone to cultivate rather than explaining, Hui Yu knew that Lanfeng did not see it as important for now. As the youngsters returned to the academy, everything returned to how it had been the week before. Ding Wu did not come visit Hui Yu to discuss the ring, and instead, Hui Yu spent the time cultivating much like he had done previously. Finally, after waiting for 2 weeks, did Hui Yu finally run out of medicinal pills. Excitement shone within his blue eyes as he struck out one fist after another, utilizing his low-ranked martial art skills to test his strength. Using these medicinal pills, Hui Yu had managed to reach the 8-star student rank, and it was so incredibly tempting to go and buy more pills so that he could charge straight to the 9th star. Despite this, he knew better. Although these pills copied Hui Yu's qi, They also caused his chi spiral to become unstable. It moved irregularly as the copied chi was composed of some thick and other thin chi threads, creating an imbalance within his lower dantian. Hui Yu sighed deeply as he once again started to attend the classes and spent the hours during lectures to read through one massive book after another, each containing the history of this continent. Unfortunately, he was unable to find any more clues towards the Dark Age. During his spare time, Hui Yu still fortified his insides and practiced the transforming weapons martial arts skill. Currently he was capable of producing the simplest of all knives, however after doing so Hui Yu realized just how terrible he had become at armed combat. Looking back, the last time he practiced wushu was when he lived in his old world, and since he had come here everything he had done focused on his body rather than weapons. This lack of practice now came back to bite him, and Hui Yu had to add an extra few hours of training for his wushu, forcing himself into shape. The nights were when Hui Yu would sit still and cultivate, absorbing the essence of the world which he then refined into chi that merged with the thin chi threads. This caused him to grow thicker and become much more stable. Another couple of weeks went by calmly while Hui Yu attended the classes and cultivated in peace. However, he had not forgotten Dong Wu, and as his chi finally settled down he decided that the following day he would go look for Dong Wu. If his secretive friend had no intention of finding him, then it was about time for Hui Yu to go hunting for his friend. A smile appeared on Hui Yu's face as he looked out the dark window. Sleep was one of the few luxuries that he would only allow himself when something good happened, and tonight he would sleep perfectly well. Hui Yu and Lan Feng were both sound asleep during the night. Whenever Hui Yu practiced and cultivated, Lan Feng spent his entire energy on refining chi and merging it with his elemental affinity, in turn creating spiritual energy, inside their chi cave. Hui Yu had not gotten a proper sleep in weeks. He had been spending all his time and energy on stabilizing his chi spiral, and upon finally succeeding, exhaustion washed over his young body and he knew that it was time to sleep. This, in turn, had ensured that Hui Yu fell into a deep slumber as soon as his head hit the pillow and everything around him became unimportant. Usually, a cultivator, even one in the student rank such as Hui Yu, would be alert even in his sleep. However, Hui Yu was currently within the Ryuo City's Royal Academy, where it was impossible to enter without an academy emblem of some sorts. Not to mention he was within his own courtyard, which the key he had with him in his bedroom could only open. The key being bound to his own chi was an additional precaution. All these safety measures, combined with his exhaustion, had caused both Lan Feng and Hui Yu to be sound asleep without a care in the world about their lowered guard. Outside, the moon was fully illuminated in the night sky, indicating the turn of the month, and the second pill distribution day had transpired exactly like the first. This time, however, Hui Yu had kept the pill and consumed it, only to realize that it was subpar to what he was used to. A creaking sound filled the room and a shadow gracefully descended into the room from the outside black sky through the window. Her entire figure was bathed in the moonlight from behind, causing her features to be hidden in a pitch-black shadow. The figure crept into the room and stood, observing the sleeping boy for a moment before the hazel-brown eyes started shining with a red hue. A vicious smile spread across her beautiful and succulent lips, with the air of a tigress ready for the kill. Stealthily moving, without a sound being wrought, the woman suddenly found herself standing next to the bed with the sleeping boy. Her smile, full of malice, turned into a vicious grin, and the red sheen within her eyes intensified, making her look like a ferocious beast. Two slim hands slowly moved towards the boy, their slender fingers slithering around his frail-looking neck. Insanity was replacing the viciousness evident on her usually beautiful face, and for a moment her hands halted there, poised to end the short-lived life with a swift strike.